Hey guys, welcome to the episode of the Planeswalkers Pub. I'm your host, Aaron.
I'm Eric.
Howdy, it's RJ. Today we are going to be talking about all the new Commander-related things that were spoiled last week.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but before that, I want to quickly jump over to our upkeep step. One thing you might be noticing is that we got new microphones, so you shouldn't hear that horrible echo anymore, as well as everyone should be at the same volume level. I also want to thank our subscribers. Last week, I kind of rushed through the end section of the video and forgot to mention you guys, and for that, I'm actually really, really sorry. We're at like 75 subscribers right now, and that is just amazing. So thank you all very, very much for actually subscribing and listening to us every single week. It's because of your continued support that we actually got these microphones and a few other things to help out the channel. All right, with the upkeep done, let's move on to talk about our friends over at tcgplayer.com. In the description box below is the affiliate link that will link you to TCG Player and let them know that we sent you. You're going to be buying cards anyway, so why not help with the channel at the same time? I also want to mention the fact that we have a Twitter and a Discord, links of which are both inside the description box below.
Now that that's done, let's talk about our signature card.
Yes, every episode of the Planeswalkers Pub will feature a signature card that may or may not relate to the episode's topic.
Today's signature card is Zoologist. Zoologist costs 3 and a green. It is a creature druid that states, pay 3 and a green, tap it, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it into play. Otherwise, put it into your graveyard. It's also a 1/2.
So this card seems really, really good if you know that there's a creature on top. Let's just put this out here from the gate. If you're running Selesnya or something and you play Eldormar's Call, you can basically just cheat in like a Kratos Behemoth.
Yeah, that too. Anything that even lets you just see the top card of your library. Oracle. Just have Oracle Moldiah out, then you can see like, oh, this is a creature. Let's bring it out for free.
There's also Worldly Tutor, which puts a
creature
on top of your library. And there is a creature version of Oracle of Moldiah, where instead of being able to play a land from the top of your deck, it's play a creature from the top. So if you're already looking at the top of your deck and see the creature, you can use that or Zoologist here.
Yeah, this is kind of like a worse sneak attack, because you're kind of guessing. The downside, obviously, is if you can't see the top of your library or something like that, it just goes to the graveyard, which kind of sucks. But if you're in like a Dredge-style deck, you're not going to care anyway. My thoughts that this card would actually go really good in is...
Key of the Old Ways?
Yeah, there you go.
Does she care about creatures?
Well, you can't cast non-creature spells while she's out.
Oh, yeah.
But your mana's doubled.
Yeah, and your mana's doubled. So I feel like in which case you put this in there, because you're basically going to be running 90% creatures anyway. There's a good chance you're going to hit this, or just mill one of your lands.
Instead of Gruul, I was actually thinking Simic, since blue has all the cards that allow you to rearrange the top of your deck. I mean, how awesome would it be to ponder and manipulate what's coming next? I mean, with the scries, you'll be able to see what's there.
I didn't consider that, but that's actually very terrifying. Because obviously green has like the biggest, baddest creatures for the most part. So you just, hey, or even just if you're really feeling spicy, like put in like an Ur-Dragon deck or something, and then just like get a dragon on top. Like, hey, guess what? Hellkite Tyrant? Yeah, now it's on the field. Or put inside of a dinosaur deck. Avery's put inside of his dino deck.
Gashatha's Haste, this doesn't.
Yeah.
That is true. Plus, it's also like a 1/2 for like 4 mana, which can be a downside. But once again, I don't know, I feel like Nikia would just love the crap out of this card, because pay 4 mana, potentially cheat out something that's a lot bigger than 4 mana that you've got no business cheating out.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of fun.
So switching over to our actual main topic, last week, Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast joined the guys over at the Command Zone and talked about the new Commander things coming next year. There will be a link to the full video in the description box below.
So the first thing they talked about was Commander 2020, which will launch April 24th. This is the standard Commander precons that we're used to, except there are going to be 5 precons instead of the normal 4. And he said that there are going to be 71 new cards inside the decks.
So this is gonna be great. For starters, I mean, I know some people are thinking that why are they doing 5 as opposed to 4? When the Commander Precons originally came out, there were 5 of them. They weren't originally 4. It's nice that they're actually jumping back to this. I know people might be thinking, okay, well, it's kind of hard to balance between 5 different decks. I don't think so. Eric, what's your thoughts?
Well, it's good that they're going back to 5, because that's one of the biggest complaints about the Commander Precons, is that they reduce the amount of decks to 4 and they increase the price. without necessarily increasing the quality even, since this year and last year were kind of mediumly well received. Without the higher quality of reprints and losing an entire deck, people were wondering, well, why are the commander decks more expensive now if there's no value in them and there's even one less deck?
I don't like the fact that there's 5 decks for one reason, and that is from the point of view, or what I've learned about how an LGS works. When an LGS buys a set of commander decks, they can't order, like, say of the 5 decks, one of them is, like, godly, and the other 4 are mediocre. People are going to buy out that godly commander deck. And
Like an Atraxa situation?
Like an Atraxa situation.
Or an Ur-Dragon situation.
Or an Ur-Dragon situation. Then they're going to be left with these 4 decks that they can't sell. And if they want more of that money-making Atraxa deck, or whatever the equivalent might be in this, they're going to have to order that plus all the other ones, in which case they're losing money at that point. Because even if they're selling thousands of copies of this one deck, they're still having to spend money on the other 4 decks.
Yeah, because you can only get them like in a box. You can't really order just like, I want number A, like 500 copies of A, 200 copies of B. It's just like a, hey, you get a box of just all 5 of them. Deal with it. Speaking of the actual Commander 2020, it is also launching the exact same time as Ikoria. And the thing is, Gavin actually mentioned that you can pick up the Commander precons at the Ikoria pre-release.
I think it's cool. I don't really see that. Getting stuff earlier is cool. I don't really see a big difference, or a big, like, I don't think it's a big deal that they're coming out any earlier.
Well, I'm certainly excited that we don't have to wait all the way till August.
It's because this is actually this is coming out in April, so I feel like it's earlier than normal.
It's definitely earlier, because usually Commander products don't come out till like August or something.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely excited to get my hands on it earlier, especially even earlier with the pre-release, which comes out usually a week before the set.
Yeah, but the question is, are our wallets going to be okay with that? Because, like, even though we're technically Commander players, and yes, we want these pre-cons, we also buy into standard stuff anyway, just because those are brand new cards that we want to touch. So.
Yeah, and being based around the sets definitely makes it easier to design for, instead of picking random keywords that have nothing to do with anything, just as an unrelated example.
I feel like Wizards is just like, hey, you're already at your LGS buying stuff anyway, why not pick up this too? But also, it might be a decent way of not really bringing people from Standard over to Commander, but it's just like, if they see them both on the shelves at the same time, they're like, oh, what's this? 100 cards, you say? Like, I don't know. It could be really interesting to do it in that sense.
Didn't Gavin mention that the decks would be themed around Ikoria?
So in that case, that could be interesting.
It's 5 color make monsters.
Yeah, but they can't make all 5 of the decks 5 colors.
Each deck is 1 color. That's why there's 5 of them.
There is no guarantee that that's the theory of just like each color. I'm praying that they don't do that, because then you're just there's no fun in it. Like they're just going to lean into what each color does really good.
What about the allies and the villain, or what's the opposite of ally colors? What do you call
enemy colors?
Enemy
Enemies,
colors.
yeah.
So do you think they're going to be like the ally or enemy colors?
Well, I don't personally like monocolored commander decks, just because, like I said, the monocolored blue deck is going to be mostly counter spells and draw cards. Like, monocolored green decks are going to be much like, creatures and ramping. Like, I don't like that. I like the fact that it's the 2 colors, 3 colors, maybe 4 colors if you're feeling daring, because that gives it more options of what it can do, or more importantly, what it can't do. I don't know. I'm just against monocolored commander decks. That's just more or less just me.
That's fair. So the next things that were mentioned are 2 Zendikar Rising themed commander decks coming out between July and September. These are mostly going to have reprints as well as 3 new cards per deck. So this is definitely going to be based on the set itself.
Yeah.
With probably, I'd guess, a Nissa as commander deck. I believe Mark Rosewater did mention there was going to be no Eldrazi in Zendikar this time, which is a bit of a disappointment, but that's fine.
Or very little Eldrazi, because they're trying to actually focus more on the actual plane itself, not just like, the Eldrazi Winter, as it was called back in that standard version.
And how it's still called that in Modern. The decks are coming with 3 new ones, which I think are literally just going to be the 3 commanders.
Yeah, the 3 phase cards or whatever from it. And then it just mentioned afterwards, just like, hey, reprints. What's our thoughts on giving us just 3 new cards? We can all basically agree this is just an excuse for Wizards to give us more reprints, because Because my thing is like they're going to give us 3 new cards with it. So it's just like, hey, here's a reason to pick this up. But outside of that, picking it up, here's a bunch of just reprints. Like, here is some more Samson Relaxants you might need. Here's like, another Soul Ring that you might need. Here's some more like, Kodama's Reaches or something in that sense. I guess the theory is, for the most part, a lot of people are going to say this is basically just Commander draft chaff. So is it worth actually picking up at all?
That's definitely sort of wait for the deck list to come out type of thing, because you got to think that some of these reprints are also going to be from the set itself.
So like Zendikar Rising and everything in that sense?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I'm not excited for a millionth reprint of a card that's 10 cents. And the reprint is just going to make it 8 cents instead.
Theory. Not even changing set symbols. They're literally just they had bulk of certain old cards that they just slid into a pre-con. It's just like, this is weird. This looks like an OG Kamigawa. Kodama's Reach is not from Kamigawa.
No.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is.
Kodama's Reach is from Kamigawa, because Kodama is one of the spirits.
I don't know why you know that.
Because there's like 3 versions of Kodama that can be commanders. Last thing I have to say is I'm definitely more excited about the proper commander precons than the Zendikar ones.
Well, here's a theory, because it said it's about, it's 2 decks, 3 new cards, and then mostly reprints. Are these technically going to be playable decks, or is this just going to be basically like a bunch of just like commons and uncommons? I'm just like, oh, well, we had like this bulk or whatever, we're just going to throw it in here. There's no cohesiveness to anything. It's just a thing we're putting in.
What if they spit in our faces by giving us, like, with the Zendikar thing, you have it's going to be like the old dual decks, where it's like, oh, Nature versus Eldrazi, and we're going to get like a mono green commander deck and an Eldrazi commander deck.
Or even, I was just thinking like if it's Nature versus Eldrazi, because those are used like 60-card decks anyway, they just take out all the lands from that, put those 2 decks together, and then just call it a freaking commander deck.
Also, coming out between July and September is the new Commander Collection set, Color Green. This is a sort of callback to the old spell books like Gideon and Jace, and it's going to be an 8-card set of 8 popular green cards in Commander.
Most notably, the fact that Gavin said that it's going to have new artwork, as well as these are most wanted reprints. It's not just going to be just like 8 random, like, they're not going to reprint Gaia's Cradle. I can tell you that right now. They're not going to reprint Gaia's Cradle, so stop asking. Don't bother asking. They did mention, like I said, new arts, which we're actually going to talk about in a second. But before that, let me actually just start by, let's make our predictions, because as of this second, as of recording, nothing's actually been released on what it's going to entail, these 8 cards. Some people, like myself and RJ, are thinking they're going to reprint Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library is 1 and a green enchantment. During your draw phase, you can draw 3 cards, and you can put any of them back or take 4 damage for each card drawn.
And Sylvan Library's also current price, the cheapest one you can buy is $35. So it's one of those things that if they reprint that would be amazing.
Well, the other most popular green card that has the most requests is Oracle of Moldiah.
Oracle Moldiah, by the way, is also currently like $32 if you're actually purchasing it. And Oracle basically states like, 3 and a green for a creature shaman, or creature elf shaman, it matters. She's a 2/2, and you may play additional land on each of your turns. You also play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of your library if it's a land. So this is just really a really good green card that's kind of just expensive. Do we think they're going to print something like Zendikar Resurgence? Even though it's not really expensive, it's kind of something that people need?
I would think they would save something that references Zendikar for the Zendikar precons, Aaron.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, would they really put Zendikar Resurgence in the precon, though?
It's not that crazy of a card. You have to get a lot of mana to get up to it, and it won't really go off until the next turn.
Yeah, but you're also on green, so like, you can tap like your dorks and stuff like that since they actually get to it.
Yeah, so ideally you get this out on like turn 4 or 5, and then after that you go off. But like you have a whole turn. Like, people have destroyed my Zendikar Resurgence without me ever tapping a land.
And didn't Kevin mention it was needed reprints? I don't know if Zendikar Resurgence is a needed reprint.
It's like $2-3. I mean, it's not needed, but
the price is currently about like $5. I just looked at it.
Ooh.
But even still, that's not really that expensive for the most part, just for what it actually does. Like Mirari's Wig is like
Mirari's Wig is like $20 some, but that only costs $5.
and it's also an anthem.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So he did mention that these are also getting new artworks. He also gave us pictures of the actual arts themselves, just kind of some spoilers. So we're just going to toss one of them up on screen right now. This is kind of what you're currently seeing. RJ, who was in the current character on this?
Yisan, the Wandering Bard.
Right. So Gavin mentioned the fact that although Yusan is in the art, this is not his card, so he's not going to be reprinted potentially from this. And it's kind of just, people are thinking it might be like a overgrowth effect or like an overrun type deal.
I think it might be Tooth and Nail. Yisan summons creatures from the deck, and Tooth and Nail summons creatures from the deck. From your hand, technically. But if you play the Entwine cost...
Which most people do.
Yeah. You can grab the cards from your deck and then cast it from your hand.
I actually didn't consider Tooth and Nail. That might actually be a Tooth and Nail artwork, which is kind of decent. Next up is another picture, or the next picture for the most part, and people are kind of having theories on what this potentially could be. Eric, what do you think this is?
I think it's the Oracle. I know it doesn't look like an elf shaman, but the way it's posed definitely looks like a shamanistic, like meditative state. Yeah.
As Gavin pointed out, the sort of headpiece on the creature looks like the crown on Azusa, Lost but Seeking, a very popular green commander, and commander staple. Do you think we'll see Azusa in that set?
She did get a reprint in one of the master sets, but
she's still up
I think
there.
there's enough time. I think enough time has passed that another reprint wouldn't be too bad.
Well, here's a question. Because Azusa is a...
She's 2 and a green. You may play up to 2 additional lands during each of your turns.
Yeah, and she's a 1/3 human monk. So here's the thing. 2 things with this statement. Number 1, she is a human. This picture is currently not a human.
Are you sure?
Yeah, pretty sure. Oracle, I'll give you the fact of like, oh, well, it's an elf shaman. It might be this because it evolved or transitioned or whatever. But humans typically aren't that type to change like that.
Although with the Kamigawa spirits, you could argue that maybe they mutated her into that.
All right, but then here's a secondary thing. Are they going to really put 2 lands matter things inside of a collection like this?
Well, green is the lands matter color, so that's exactly what I fully expect.
Well, then
it's either ramp or big stompy.
They will probably put Craterhoof in here, right?
Oh yeah, that's another needed reprint. That's like $30-$40.
Yeah, a little bit.
Craterhoof is currently $31. 5 green or 5/5 beast with haste. When Craterhoof enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample and +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. So Craterhoof is a very known finisher.
So what do we think about this design? Well, I fully expect that there'll be at least 2 or 3 cards that will actually be reprinted that we actually need, and the other 5 are going to be duds. I mean, they're going to be nice duds because of alternate artwork, but much like the spellbooks, how many of them had good cards? I mean, Jace had Mystic Tutor and Brainstorm, and the rest were kind of eh.
Well, that's the thing, that he mentioned that this is similar to the spellbooks, and he even technically mentioned, I think it was actually Joshua that said this is similar to the spellbooks. I don't know if they'll give us duds because this is the first time they're actually doing this specifically for Commander. So this is the one chance they have to just put not really the money on the table, but like, give us these cards that we desperately need. I don't think they'll give us duds just to kind of screw with us. Like, they're not going to put in econometry, it's just to mess with people.
This is the first time they're doing this, so they're going to screw up and make it too good.
That is true.
It's going to have like $300 worth of cards for $20.
It's not going to cost $20.
Dude, the Gideon spellbook is $20.
The Gideon spellbook is going to be $20, but if they're putting like Oracle Modiah in here, there's no way in hell they're selling for $20. I mean, my theory of the price wise of this is probably going to be like $50.
Those cards better be valuable.
Well, here's the thing: if you're putting in Craterhoof, Craterhoof is $31, Oracle's like $30 self, Azusa's like $20. If you're putting in those 3 cards, you've also got additional 5 cards. Like $50 is not that hard to imagine if you're putting in like real valuable stuff.
Yeah, well, that depends on if they're actually putting in that valuable stuff. I mean, nothing's confirmed yet. This is all speculation.
I guess then to answer your question about what are our thoughts about the actual design of this, I like it. I like the theory of it. I don't like the fact it started with green because it's not my color, but I definitely like it.
I hope that the next Commander collections come out in
Make it red.
a good amount of time, because
make it blue.
a lot of time passed between Jace and Gideon.
They're gonna print a new, like, the next signature thing, or like the last one in this whole cycle after they get through all the colors. It's gonna be a Commander Collection lands,
Yeah, right. Oh, okay.
and it's just gonna be all the fetches, nothing else.
What about just like strip mine or something?
Yeah, well, it would be Strip Mine Maze of Ith.
That's actually not a bad idea. Commander Collection lands.
Because like I was just looking at a bid for From the Vault relics.
I mean, we know that they're going to do the other 4 colors. I'm assuming they're going to do a Commander collections like, colorless. Maybe they'll give us like a single Eldrazi. Maybe they'll print Emrakul. Because at that point, you're talking like maybe like 2-3 years from now, time has passed. We can run another Emrakul. Imagine it's like the legal Emrakul, but like new art. Could be just dope.
They do have alternate art and Torn, so I wouldn't be against an alternate art.
Promised End?
Yeah, or a new Emrakul, just Emrakul.
Just a brand new Emrakul, new text and everything.
Yeah, just new Emrakul.
I don't know, man. Like she's pretty dangerous from the gate.
I know.
You have to be careful because like the other ones were already banned.
Annihilator 12.
We're
Wow.
definitely not
Banned.
done with the Eldrazi. Like Nicol Bolas, they'll end up coming back, and I fully expect to get us 3 new versions of each of the Titans.
Yeah. The next Commander collection, in theory, should be red because they went with green. They're probably just doing it like reverse Wooburg order.
That's cleverer than I expect Wizards of the Coast to do.
I don't know, man. They came with this freaking idea. I don't know. It could be fine. If they're going to do the red one, I don't know what they could reprint that people actually want to buy.
How the hell are they going to print a valuable red set?
Well, that's the thing. If they are printing red next, what red cards are worth reprinting? Like, what's really expensive?
Purphoros.
Purpose isn't that expensive.
Purphoros is like 30. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
We're also going back to Theros.
I get that, but they're not reprinting Purphoros. He might even go up with the new Theros set.
Well, no, they might print like a newer Purphoros or something.
A newer one, but not as good as the old Purphoros.
Yeah, I definitely don't expect the new Theros gods. Well, the old Theros gods, the new versions of them, will be nearly as powerful as the original Theros.
All right, so you got Purphoros, probably not Kiki.
That's the thing is, red's the budget color. Like, if you're getting into Magic and you want to do it on the cheap, you build mono red.
If you want to go into Magic and you actually want to win, you go mono green. But let us know down in the comments if you guys can think of any red cards that they actually are be worth printing. Moving on to our last segment, or last spoiler, is probably the most exciting thing out of the entire conversation: Commander Legends. It's supposed to come out between October and December, or basically Q4, and it's going to be a full booster box of draft-style Commander cards with 20 cards in each pack. What that basically means is that you can basically buy a box of it similar to like Ikoria. This box is also going to contain 70 new legends. Now that is 70 new legendary cards inside of this actual box. I don't care who starts it, just tell me about this set.
So, 70 new legends.
70 new legends.
You know that the bulk of them is going to be like uncommons. Like what they did with the War of the Spark, how they had
Like
the
70
Planeswalkers
new
in.
Planeswalkers, yeah.
There's going to be a bunch of junk legends that probably aren't going to be all that good. And then the rare and the mythic slots are going to be the ones you want to pay attention to.
But 70 new legends means a potential 70 new commander decks.
That's true. But look at Dominaria, who was overflowed with legends. How many junk legends were in there?
That's true. But once again, 70 new legends means that if you're new to Commander, all you have to do is spend the money to buy this one box, and you are basically golden for the next year and some change.
Okay, no, you're not, because while you may be able to get some legends to head your Commander decks, you are not going to get 99 cards.
I know all the 99 cards, but my point is the fact of like, what's the main problem with building commander decks is like we're like, oh, we don't know what to build or whatever. I don't know who to pick right now. It's hard to kind of just figure out what you want to get. Versus this, you just open up literally a booster pack of this, and it's like, okay, well here's 6 legends I haven't seen before. Let's run decks with these. Like, it gives you options, and options is always good. RJ, tell me about this set and how excited you are about it.
I want to draft Commander. I don't know how the hell that's going to work. I don't know if it's going to even do anything at all. But I want to sit down with you guys with a couple booster packs
and build some janky decks and kill each other with them.
As
I'm
well.
looking forward to it. I feel like the set is either going to be garbage nothing, or it's going to be way too powerful, and they're going to have to ban a lot of cards.
That's the thing. Everyone always assumes that it's either going to be a one or the other. I feel like Wizards, and I might be giving them slightly more credit, and Eric would definitely yell at me about this. I feel like Wizards actually can make a balanced set if they put their minds to it.
Field of the Dead. Oko.
Yes, okay, cool. Field of the Dead is terrifying and standard. Oko is terrifying and standard. This is Commander. We have Heroes Downfall. So the point is the fact of like, we have ways of actually taking care of Oko. We have Strip Mine, Wasteland, Dust Bowl to take care of the Field of the Dead if necessary. It's easier to balance Commander because we have other answers to basically take care of that stuff. I'm not excited about Draft. I don't really care as much about Draft, but I do like the format. I care a lot about the fact that they're just giving us 70 new legends. And yes, I agree with you, Eric, that it could just be junk. But even so, like we've run junk decks before. Like you're running a Chandra tribal deck.
That's fair.
That by definition is just a junk deck. There's better red commanders. We're commander players. We play more for fun anyway, and I'm going to be super stoked on getting these 70 new commanders. It also mentions the fact that there's going to be just a ton of reprints inside of this as well to kind of fill in those little gaps between it.
What do you think of us potentially getting the idea of Commander Draft Chaff? Cards that are specifically built for Commander Draft. Not Commander, Commander Draft. That are meant to be left behind when you leave the store.
He did say, and it is actually up on screen right now, the fact that this is a draft set for Commander. So I do agree with you that there's probably Commander Draft Chat. You just said left at the store. I just realized that in my head. I'm like, wait, he just said left at the store. So
I mean, that's the most popular, thing. Whenever you go to any draft, there's always
draft just left at the store. But that's the question is like, I don't think there will be any because like you're gonna want these for your commander decks. Like they're.
But will you though? I mean,
yes.
Once you finish the draft and you're able to,
there is
use all your
I don't care.
collections, the cards may not be good.
Every legend can be utilized for your for a commander. A legal commander. There's no way anyone's leaving just a legend behind.
I'm not talking the legends. I'm talking about the things that aren't the legends.
Well, in that case, then yeah, I guess.
The
but
5-mana removal spell, like
the 5-mana removal spell. I mean, yeah, like stuff like that. I guess
the vanilla 3/4 flyer for 8. That'd be more 6 mana.
Well, here's the thing, though. This is a draft set, which means that the legendary cards are probably going to be less than 5 mana, because you're playing draft, which is basically just kind of like standard. You want to kind of get out the creature fast enough to actually do stuff with. He did actually spoil some art and kind of give us an example of just the cards themselves. New version of Baron Sangir, and the art's actually currently on screen right now. It looks dope. Outside of that, Baron Sangir was originally 5 black for a 5/5 vampire. He has flying, and whenever a creature dealt damage by Baron Sangir this turn is put into the graveyard, put a +2/+2 counter on Baron Sangir. Tap it, regenerate another target vampire. So the fact that they're actually printing a new version of him could be really interesting. Note that this version also has kind of like some red color scheme to it, so he might be like Rakdos now. So that's kind of just one thing he spoiled. He also spoiled another picture, which RJ and I actually kind of put together just looking online for the most part, and we found that it's actually Jessica Warrior Adept. Costs 2 and 2 red. First strike, haste, tap. Jessica Warrior Adept deals 1 damage to target creature or player, and it's a 3/1. So, and her new art basically kind of has her in black, and she was originally a red card. So it's a theory that, hey, she might still be mono red, or she might be Rakdos herself. RJ had theories on the background.
The art is very... It reminds me of Zendikar. Very trees, very foresty. I thought she's going Gruul, because her outfit's very warrior-like, and usually Rakdos stuff is more twisted and dark. Plus, she also, for a while, was Phage, the Untouchable.
Yeah, which was... Well, that's the thing. She was for a while, like Phage, when Phage is mono black. So that's why my theory of, like, she's going Rakdos, because she was originally red... Then she turned into Phage, which is mono black. Now she's kind of felt a nice medium between the two of Rakdos.
I kind of like RJ's theory of it being Gruul, because Radha is Gruul, and she has kind of the same barbarian warlord type thing that she has.
Or
Jund.
Jund?
¿Por qué no los dos, senor?
¿Por qué no los dos? Yeah, why not?
She's a Jund. Also, she's not a commander creature. I'm guessing she's still going to be a commander, but she's a commander planeswalker.
Yeah, so she's
Oh.
actually a legendary planeswalker. That's the thing about this set as well, the fact of this draft. Gavin did mention the fact that they're not only just creatures. There are also planeswalkers in this as well. So he mentioned the fact that, yeah, she's, because of the way the art is designed, I can put up a few planeswalkers as examples. Most planeswalkers, they are kind of just standing upright. Or like kind of like walking towards you or doing something in the background, something in that sense.
What they were saying is the art is vertical rather than horizontal. Because
Yes.
like with every creature or spell, the art is going to be more horizontal. This is very vertical.
Regardless, I'm really, really excited about this. I'm also excited about what's coming up next. RJ.
There's not just the Commander Legends coming out. We are also getting 2 more precon decks that have even more reprints and 3 new cards.
Yeah, so we're actually also getting additional 2 decks. So we're getting the 2 decks, the 2 precon decks from Zendikar. We're also getting 2 additional decks with the actual Commander Legends as well, which also have 3 new precon or 3 new commanders in each, as well as just more reprints as well. So this is going to just be like reprint crazy. I never really watched the MTG Finance guys or whatever. Where like, hey, sell your cards now because of X and Y. But I might actually start tuning into them because with all this stuff being reprinted left and right, prices are going to go just crazy.
I kind of disagree with you on that, Aaron. I mean, even though Wizards can't officially recognize the secondary market, they do recognize that local game stores still need to make money to survive, and they can't liquidate their entire stock. In addition to that, there'll be all the players that'll be angry that their collections are now worthless, which is the reason why the reserve list exists, so people, don't suddenly lose value on their $10,000 Black Lotus or whatever. So even though they're going reprint crazy, quote-unquote, I think it's going to be things like Kodama's Reach or Mind Stone
Soul Ring.
or Soul Ring, yeah. I don't think we're going to get like $50 reprints in these things.
I know, we're not going to get $50 reprints, but even taking like something like Soul Ring, for instance, which is a consistent like $4 card, reprinting that, because by the end of next year, if everything is kind of going the way that we think it is, by the end of next year, all of these reprints with the Commander Core 2020, the 2 decks with Zendikar, the 2 decks from this Legends set, there's going to have a potential of 9 possible reprints for Soul Ring. I don't know if anyone can maintain Soul Ring at $4 price tag anymore because you're getting 9 possible chances of getting another one.
Well, not possible chances because they're definitely going to be in the
in the
pre-con.
pre-cons, yeah, that's my point. Soul Ring is going to go down in price, and putting Soul Ring down in price is actually good because it makes no logical sense the reason why it is $4 freaking when it's reprinted every bloody year.
I think they really should reprint Arcane Signet more.
That might be what they're going to do because it's a commander. Is it currently in standard? No, right?
No.
It's technically
Yeah, it
in
is
standard.
standard.
It's
Yeah,
standard legal, but it doesn't do anything in
it's
standard.
technically standard legal right now, and I feel like, as well as every Commander player in existence, all agree that is not a standard card. It doesn't belong in standard. Why is it there? It's in there because
It's
of
there 'cause of Brawl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the problem with Arcane Signet is the fact that it's in there because of Brawl. If you put Arcane Signet inside of each of these decks, it will drop its price down from its current like $3 some essence down to where it belongs at $1.
Arcane Signet is $11.
No, I thought it went down.
It went down from $20 to $11, but it's $11.
So Arcane Signet is currently at $9. But yeah, that's my point is it shouldn't be $9. It should be down to basically like $2 or $3. So if they print this and Soul Ring inside the same products, it'll make the price go down considerably. Like I shouldn't have to pay $4 for something I use in every single one of my decks. So let's actually, we talked about a lot of stuff today. Let's actually just go to a quick roundup or cleanup of just recapping
A cleanup step.
Terrible.
of actually just talking about everything that's coming out and there's our quick takes and opinions on them. There's going to be Commander 2020, which is releasing April 24th with Ikoria's pre-release. There's going to be the additional Zendikar Commander decks, which is releasing in quarter 3, as well as the Commander Collection, which is also releasing in quarter 3, based on the actual timeline that they provided on screen right now, by the way. It's probably not going to come out the same day. It's probably going to maybe a month or two later. Then there's Commander Legends, which is coming out in Q4 or around December-ish or a little bit earlier, which is going to have the giant freaking draft set as well as the 2 additional decks.
So, allow me to be the cynic here and go on a little tangent. Money is the reason why Wizards is doing this, because the only money they get from it is the precons. Otherwise, most people build commander decks from the secondary market, which Wizards sees no money from. And people don't buy boxes for commanders. They just don't. So yeah, Wizards is definitely trying to control Commander, especially by tying the Commander sets to their own sets, which definitely makes it easier to develop because, like I sarcastically mentioned in a previous segment, the Commander 2019 were really random. Madness, Populate, Morph, and Flashback. I feel Wizards R&D was definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel when they came up with these decks. Tying the commander decks to the sets definitely makes it easier to develop because you can choose the themes, whether they be the colors or whatever the keywords of that specific set would be.
So yeah, I definitely agree that it's very convenient that they're all kind of tying in exactly very nice and neatly with everything else. Plus, my main theory as well with that is commander players can be like, okay, well, I'm buying the commander set anyway. I might as well pick up a couple of packs of Ikoria because I'm at the pre-release. I might as well pick them up because why not? I could get some cards from that. I'm not complaining because this is our podcast. This is what we do. This new cards is always good. I'm always happy for new cards because it gives you new options. It's able to show you things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to experience.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm not excited. It's just that I'm kind of leery of Wizards sticking its fingers into the Commander pie, which I honestly think that the reason why Commander is so successful is that it was virtually an independent format created for fun by the players without, corporate overlords.
To, I guess, finish up that statement then, concerned the fact that the Wizards are sticking their fingers in our Commander pie and everything in that sense. But here's the thing. My mom also used to say this for the most part. We are basically at their table. It's our pie, but it's at their table instead of their house. So, we can't really complain because we don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. So it's if we're just basically shacking up with them, we can't complain when they just start giving us a bunch of different stuff. And also, too, it's yes, they're going to want our money, but guess what? We're going to give them money anyway. And that's the thing that really angers me a little bit, actually. People are always Commander products are X amount of money, and they're this, and they're that. True, but the only way of telling Wizards, blatantly giving them hey, this is why we don't want this to happen ever again, is if we don't buy the products. People complain all the time. The last, 2019 or whatever just came out. They're more expensive than last year's. We still bought them. That's not, you can't make a defense of, we don't like the prices. We're going to buy them anyway. That's like a smoker saying, I'm going to quit, but I'm just going to quit after I smoke this last 17 packs.
You got to finish the carton.
No, that's not quitting. That's not giving a statement. That's my point of, you can't complain that Wizards we don't want them to have our corporate overlords jumping into our throats and everything in that sense and controlling what we do. But in real talk, they do control what we do. Arcane Signet came out in a Brawl Precon, which is technically legal and standard. Commander players are picking that up left and right. We're opening packs. We're buying those Brawl decks, which none of us are using, but we're buying those Brawl decks anyway for the Commander Signet. They know what they're doing. Just going back to the hype train that is Commander Legends, 70 new legends. Just 70 new legends. Even if half, let's just say straight half are garbage. 35 of them are just trash. That still leaves 35 Commanders decks that you can potentially build all in one set. Beforehand, you would always go online or whatever at tcgplayer.com/Planeswalkers Pub. The link's in the description below. To actually buy your legendary and stuff in that sense or whatever. They don't all have to be as powerful as Crick. They can be just Squee the Immortal. People run a Squee the Immortal deck. Is it a good deck? Probably not.
Or Flip the Lost.
Oh yeah, or Fibblethip. How many people are actually running a Fibblethip deck? He is technically not a great commander. People are running it because of the memes.
I am so excited because yes, I know they're doing this for money, but they're still experimenting. If they want us to continue to spend our money on these products, they're going to try and do a good job with it. And rather than getting like 150 new cool cards made for Commander, we're going to get hundreds of new cards all at once. It's going to be awesome. I am pumped for all these new cards. I love green. I love the idea of like a new signature spellbook type thing. I want to draft Commander. I just want to, because then all of us, if we do a buy-in or if we just do it, there's not going to be see, my friend here has been playing longer than me, so he has a better, more valuable
deck and everything in that sense because he's got better access to it. And even if you draft it or whatever, because you can, like 4 people or 6 people, like say, hey, we're going to do a draft. We're just going to split this one box. Whatever you draft, you're going to potentially draft stuff where you're just like, oh, well, this is a cool card that isn't going to be useful in the draft, but I'm going to want it later on. So you just draft this, you've paid your buy-in, you're literally just splitting a box. Boxes are expensive. But if you've got like 6 people that are splitting one box and saying, hey, whatever you draft, you keep, that's just good value. I'm super, super excited about it. 2020, needless to say, is going to be a very crazy year, and I'm really excited about it. All right, let's jump over to our favorite step, which is going to be really interesting with these mics called Last Call.
Last call. Ooh.
See?
Last call?
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
So final thoughts and a question to people listening is, how broke are you going to be at the end of next year?
Very.
Because there's going to be so much stuff just coming
Who
out
needs
there.
money when I can have pretty painted cardboard?
Right?
Well, at least with the reprint decks, you will just have to buy the 3 new Commander cards. You don't have to buy the entire deck.
All right, so let us know down in the actual comments below of your thoughts of literally everything that we talked about, anything we possibly missed, how excited you are.
Would you have rather had a blue Commander thing?
Yes, would you rather have had blue, like my personal opinion, as opposed to starting off with green. But green's a decent thing to start off with because you can't screw it up, but like green's safer to start with. I also want to thank all of our actual subscribers as well as the new guys that are rolling up on screen right now. You guys are completely awesome. I love you guys to death. We all love you to death for the most part. Sorry
Not
for
Eric.
missing you. Sorry for missing you guys last week. I also want to thank our channel advisors, Pope and Chris. How's it going, guys? As well as Justin and McAtee to some extent. And Rob. Well, he's helped. He's
I hope
actually,
you're listening, boys.
He hasn't.
Thanks to everyone in alternate universes who said stuff to us about our very cool podcast.
Very, very cool.
I also want to thank our friends over at TCGplayer.com. Using the affiliate link down below will actually help out the channel. At the same time, you're going to be buying cards anyway, so why not? I also want to mention the fact that we have a Discord server as well as a Twitter. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all the fun things that you guys normally do. Thank you so much for 75 actual subscribers. Once we get to 100, I promise we're going to have something cool down the pipeline. I swear on that.
Emra, cool.
It's going to be very Emra cool. All right, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you guys next time.